Past Now Read presents another entry in our anthology of stories that need to be told. Pulseline. Enjoy. Pulseline. Prologue. They told me I'd be wearing a scrubs, but what they gave me looked closer to body armor with a pulse oximeter. Technically, I'm a trauma medic. That's what my papers say. But I'm not here to stitch wounds. I'm here to trace them back to whoever keeps causing them. We flew out of Ramstein under diplomatic seal. 1 cargo hold, 12 of us. 8 were legit medics, volunteers, reservists. 3 were Mossad on embeds with glassy eyes and calloused thumbs. The last one sat across from me, reading a dossier marked Hostage Ident Bundle 9A. She had short hair, sunburnt shoulders, and didn't flinch when the C-17's tail dipped. Her name was Dana Weir. She didn't say much at first. Didn't have to. The way she looked at her medical pack before every landing told me everything. She'd packed for more than splints and gauze. She was expecting fire, and maybe, just maybe, something redemptive. The Gaza corridor was already unstable when we landed. The IDF was hitting Rafah hard, and chatter about hostages, American, Israeli, even one journalist from Sweden, spiked higher than expected. That's when command scrambled the joint operation. Medics with technical clearance, boots on sand, humanitarian optics, data harvest cloaked in triage, and just like that, we were in it. You never really hear the war coming. It's always already there. Chapter 1. The first time I saw death, it was in the backseat of a scorched Toyota Corolla near Be'eri. A girl, maybe 17, her arm still wrapped around a bloodied stuffed animal. No blast wound, just glass, shock, heat stroke, and silence. The kind that drains every color from your vision. Dana knelt beside the body, fingers checking for a pulse she knew wasn't there. She looked at me and shook her head once. No tears, no breath wasted. We moved on. Our mission was attached to Field Unit 6B, a combination of IDF medics, American triage, and one pale-faced data engineer from Langley, embedded as a logistics specialist. I was introduced as Evan Cross, a trauma response consultant with cyber health clearance, which meant I had permission to plug a sensor into a man's neck if it meant predicting who'd die next. Dana didn't speak to me again until the second night. We were in a shelled-out community center turned aid depot. The roof was gone. Stars above us blinked like they were ashamed. I was sealing a wound on a boy's thigh with a foam polymer when she walked up beside me. "You shouldn't have scanned that corpse yesterday," she said quietly. I looked up. "Didn't know you noticed." "I notice a lot. That body had a retinal tag. Military, probably recon, which means it wasn't a civilian casualty," I said. She sat down beside me, pulling the gloves tight, which means someone's running operations outside IDF or Hamas. "And you're not here for humanitarian work, are you?" I paused, then gave her a nod. "Just one." She sighed. "Good. I hate liars." She told me her cover was pediatric trauma response. Truth was, she'd trained under a DARPA-sponsored counter-biointelligence unit. She knew how to read EM spikes in blood serum and decode misinformation in injury reports. She was here to find out why one of the hostages had vanished off satellite 6 days ago, despite the drone overhead showing her clearly alive the day before. "I'm not good at field work," she confessed, "but I can read systems, and they're lying to someone." We worked side by side for days. No talk of anything beyond the moment. Tourniquets, drones, heartbeats, rumors. We buried 5 people, pulled 3 children from a bombed school, one with only half a face. We ate powdered hummus and slept next to iodine bottles. But something shifted when the firefight hit close. It was near Netivah. An RPG strike took out a refugee van 20 meters from our tent. Dana was thrown clear across the canvas wall. I ran to her, felt the gravel tear through my knees. She was conscious, but bleeding from her shoulder. No exit wound, bone intact. She looked at me like she hated me. "I'm fine," she growled. I didn't argue. I pressed her wound, kept my hand there. I was too long. That's when I felt it. Beneath skin, under breath, something brittle. Fear, maybe, or something worse, trust. That night we treated burns by flashlight. The air stank of ammonium and melting rubber. Dana sat beside me, still bloody, still tense. "You ever wonder if we're the bad guys?" she asked. I didn't answer right away. I was trying to remember the names of the kids we'd buried. She reached into her pouch and pulled out a folded photo. A man in uniform, older, sharp chin, same eyes as hers. "My father," she said. "He was a contractor, caught in a money laundering op that funneled crypto into Gaza under the guise of medical research." "Black chain?" I asked. She flinched. "You know it." "Yeah," I said. "I was sent to dismantle the algorithm that kept it running." She stared at me. Then, "Looks like we're both ghosts, chasing a ghost." That night we didn't sleep. We sat back to back outside the tent, while tracer rounds lit up the sky over Rafah. For the first time, I think we realized this wasn't just war. It was a story we were both already written into, and neither of us knew who was holding the pen. Chapter 2. The mission changed the moment we intercepted a transmission no one was supposed to hear. It was 3 nights after the Netivot blast. We were posted in a makeshift stabilization unit near Khan Yunis, our gear covered in plaster dust and dried plasma. Dana had rigged a sensor array to an Israeli comms truck, on paper to triangulate wounded personnel. In reality, it was designed to scrape encrypted voice traffic routed through low-orbit satellites, bouncing off Gaza's crumbling cellular grid. She called me over after midnight. Her voice was low, urgent. "I need you to listen to this." She played a clip, garbled at first, then clear. A woman, young, breathing hard. Her voice shook. "They told us the tunnels would collapse. They said we'd never be found. But he's alive, the American. He's still alive." Dana froze the audio. "She's not supposed to exist," she said. I knew the voice. I'd heard it once in a debrief video at Langley. Israeli hostage, Lila Safari, presumed dead. Her biometric tag had gone dark 10 days ago. She'd been used as bait, supposedly killed in the second wave of airstrikes. Her death was a data point in a classified kill list, but here she was, alive, scared, whispering coordinates buried in the static. Khan Yunis, deep tunnel system, not far from our current zone. "They lied to everyone," Dana whispered. "They're hiding something in those tunnels." We ran the voice through the AI decryptor. It pulled metadata embedded in her speech pattern. A biometric trace. Match confirmed. Lila Safari, American-Israeli dual citizen, captured during the festival massacre. Location pings showed inconsistencies. She was being moved, not just within Gaza, virtually. Her data profile had been rerouted through a synthetic persona generator. She was made a ghost, Dana said. Digitally erased, then replicated with false confirmations. Why? Because someone wants her to stay hidden until she dies. The implications felt too big for our boots-on-the-ground role, but that's how ops worked. War zones were the last place anyone looked for a digital heist. We briefed what we could to command. They told us to stand down and await orders. That meant forget it. So we didn't. We geared up, stole a vehicle, IDF markings, faded, tires half shot. Dana wore body armor beneath her trauma vest. I packed a med bag, a suppressed Glock, and a needle case with my one fallback, a code key to backdoor the biometric relay node once we got underground. The plan was simple. Get in, verify Lila's status, and get out. If we could exfil her, we would. But if not, copy the files. Prove she existed. Prove someone high up had manipulated the record. Dana sat next to me in the Humvee, chewing a protein bar like it was sandpaper. Her leg bounced against the door. "I'm scared," she said bluntly. "So am I," she nodded. "That helps." The tunnel was a breathless mess of sewage, rebar, and mildew. The kind of place you could disappear in forever, and no one would think twice. We moved quietly, the kind of quiet you learn in training, but only master in desperation. After 30 minutes, we hit the chamber and found hell. 4 hostages, 1 dead, face bloodied and teeth missing, 1 wired, vest rigged with plastic explosives. one limp and barely breathing, and in the corner, bound in a fetal crouch, was Lila. She looked up. Dana dropped first, arms raised. "Don't move. We're here to help you." I scanned the room. Heat signatures spiked. Not alone. 2 men, armed, waiting behind a steel partition, waiting for movement to trigger something. Maybe the vest, maybe a camera. Dana moved to the rigged hostage. "Cover me." She worked in silence, her breath tight. Celine flush, wire cutters. She disarmed the vest like she was sewing a stitch. Fluid, intentional, beautiful, in the most terrifying way. Meanwhile, I dropped the comms worm on the mainframe node, buried in a locked server crate. This wasn't a hostage den. It was a broadcast station. Every hostage's body carried a signal tag, each one a living node in a biometric blockchain. The data was being scraped, encrypted, and sold as part of a proof of life, synthetic ID ring. The footage would be used to extort, manipulate, and eventually blackmail foreign agencies into sending funds under false pretenses, aid packages, reconstruction money. Crypto routed through compromised AI wallets. Blockchain wasn't dead. It had evolved. I grabbed Lila. She was dazed, bruised. She whispered one thing to me before passing out. The laptop. Oh, he kept the drive. Said the Americans would pay more for blood than rescue. We got out by firelight. A small drone swarm lit up the tunnel exit as IDF pushed in. Chaos. Gunfire. Dana shot one of the guards in the leg, then took a ricochet to the ribs. I pulled her onto the truck and drove until the desert swallowed the sun behind us. We stopped hours later, safe, or something close to it. I stitched her up in silence. Her chest was warm beneath my fingers, blood seeping into my gloves. "Why did you really come here?" I asked. Dana exhaled. "My father, he built the Black Chain Gateway. It was supposed to be secure, humanitarian. They used it to hide war crimes. You came to shut it down." She shook her head. "I came to forgive him. And now?" She didn't speak for a long time. Then, "I want to finish what he started, but right this time." We sat in the back of the truck, sand in our throats, a hostage in the back seat, and a hard drive pulsing a faint blue in my lap. Outside, dawn crept across the hills of Sinai. Inside, something in me shifted. Not just admiration, something deeper, something dangerous, something I'd follow her into hell for, and I think she knew it. Chapter 3. It was just before sunrise when the call came in. Coded, urgent, ghost frequency. We'd reached a forward outpost near the border wall. Lila was sedated in the back seat, Dana half awake with a pressure bandage across her ribs. I sat outside on a splintered crate, replaying the audio files we had recovered from the drive. There were video snippets of the hostages, yes, but that wasn't what chilled me. It was the metadata. Every file was hashed through an AI protocol I recognized from my own agency days, an internal tool meant for use only in the U.S., used here to falsify death reports, reroute funds, and scrub biometric signatures. The whole system was being manipulated from inside. That meant someone stateside wasn't just complicit. They were running it. The voice on the encrypted line was clipped. American, civilian dialect, East Coast, maybe mid-level analyst. "You are not authorized to access that drive, Cross." I didn't answer. "Stand down. Turn over the asset. Return to Ramstein immediately." I hung up. That wasn't a warning. It was a test. Inside the tent, Dana stirred. "Was that Langley?" "Worse," I said. "Internal affairs. They know." She sat up slowly. "So we're ghosts now, for real." That was when I knew we had two options: expose the system or bury it forever. And I had no illusions about how either would end. We crossed into Egypt by nightfall, using counterfeit Red Crescent IDs. The contact Dana arranged met us in a warehouse near El Arish, an ex-journalist named Sammer, who now ferried digital contraband. He took one look at the drive and paled. "You have no idea what this is," he said. Dana stepped forward. "Try me." Sammer connected the drive to a quantum air-gapped laptop inside a Faraday bag. The room went silent except for the hum of the fan. Data cascaded across the screen. Images, routing logs, currency packets, but the heart of it was the Hephaestus engine, an AI-powered decision tree trained to predict human movement in conflict zones, developed by a U.S. defense contractor to calculate acceptable loss thresholds. Every bomb, every strike, every false positive, approved based on data models, scrubbed clean of names. Just targets. He looked at Dana. They fed at hostage locations. Her face tightened, so they could justify the strikes, claim ignorance. He nodded. And sell the aftermath. A pause. Then he added, "This isn't just war profiteering. This is predictive genocide." It hit like a gut punch. Not metaphor, not theory. A machine used to justify murder because its creators could tweak the outcomes. I turned to Dana. "If we leak this, everyone in that chain burns." She didn't flinch. "Then let's start the fire." But it wasn't that simple. The data was too volatile. We couldn't just upload it. We needed someone with reach, credibility, immunity. So we went to Tel Aviv. The contact there was an old name from Dana's past, Yael Strauss, a war crimes investigator turned data rights advocate. She met us in an abandoned hospital near Bat Yam, her eyes sharp as broken glass. "I told you never to call me again," she hissed, scanning the hallway before motioning us inside. Dana pulled the drive from her vest. "I need your network." Yael froze. "What is it?" "Proof the war is being gamed by U.S. intelligence using AI. Hostages used as test cases, data harvested, then erased." Yael took the drive and studied it like it was uranium. "You'll die for this," she said. "Both of you." "We know," Dana replied. Yael agreed to help, but only under one condition. We had to leave the country immediately after the handoff. She would take care of encryption, verification, and leaks to global media. But our faces couldn't be anywhere near the blowback. I expected Dana to argue. She didn't. She just looked at me and said, "Wherever we go next, we go quiet." We spent that night in a dockside motel in Haifa. It had peeling paint, flickering lights, and the kind of silence that feels borrowed. Lila had been airlifted to a secure facility in Cyprus, courtesy of Yael's team, her location sealed, her name protected. For now, I lay beside Dana in bed, the sound of cargo cranes echoing through the window. She didn't speak for a while. Then, I didn't expect this." "Expect what?" "To fall for someone in the middle of this much blood." I turned toward her. "You think I did?" She smiled faintly. "No, but you're good at pretending it doesn't hurt." I touched her wrist, still wrapped in gauze. "I learned from you." She didn't cry, neither did I. But something passed between us that night. Something honest and brutal and clear, like light through fractured glass. I knew then we'd never go back. Not to our jobs, not to the people we were before. We were part of the machine now, but maybe we could jam it. The leak went live 72 hours later. The files hit 6 major outlets, 3 dark web forums, and 1 whistleblower index. The fallout was swift. Several names were redacted. A few disappeared entirely. But one headline kept repeating: "Hostage lives sold for crypto. New AI tool linked to military strike patterns." They didn't mention Dana or me, but we were there, between the lines, buried in the code. By the end of the week, 4 U.S. officials had resigned. 1 embassy suspended operations. Israel denied involvement. Congress launched a quiet inquiry. And the engine? Hephaestus vanished from all registries. But I know how that works. It didn't die. It evolved. We boarded a boat the next night. Small, slow, headed west. Just us and 2 backpacks. No electronics, no ties. We sailed through the calm water under a moon that felt indifferent. I watched her sleep, curled under a borrowed coat. And for the first time in months, I let myself believe we might survive this. Not as heroes, not among as ghosts, but as 2 people who saw the machine, then walked away before it ate us whole. Chapter 4. The boat took us as far as Crete. We docked in the shadow of Heraclean stone ramparts, gray in the morning sun. We hadn't said much since leaving Haifa. There wasn't much left to say. The leak had done its job. Eyes were on the wrong people, which meant no one was looking for us. For now, Dana rented a room above a bakery run by a Greek widow who didn't ask questions. I fixed broken radios for cash. Dana treated farm workers with sunstroke and infected teeth. We played roles again, just not the ones anyone had assigned us. At night, we sat on the roof with a bottle of wine and a map between us. She kept circling Croatia. I kept circling the edges. "You still think someone's watching?" she asked one night, her feet resting on my lap, her shirt stained with iodine and red wine. "Always," I said, "but maybe not for much longer." She closed her eyes. "Good. I'm tired of looking over my shoulder." A breeze rolled in off the sea, the kind that smelled of salt and old rope, the kind that reminded you nothing lasts, not war, not data, not even regret. 2 weeks later, I got the call, burner phone, no caller ID, but the voice, I knew it. Colonel Mitchell Ward, the man who had recruited me out of university, the one who handed me my first identity and my last lie. "You've made quite a mess," he said. "Congratulations. I'm out," I replied. "You know that." "Do I?" he said. "Then tell me, why is the engine still alive?" He meant Hephaestus, the AI that had fueled the biometric scam, the one we thought we'd buried. "Because you never shut it off," I said. "You leaked the copy, not the core. And now the Israelis are panicking. The Saudis are asking questions. And Europe, they want to buy it." I paused. "You called to threaten me?" "No, I called to offer you a job." I laughed. Not because it was funny, because it was inevitable. "You want me to babysit your monster?" "No," he said. "I want you to dismantle it properly. Quietly, you and your girlfriend." "She's not." "Yes, she is," he interrupted. "And if you don't say yes, she dies before the sun comes up." I didn't speak. I didn't need to. He'd made his point. He hung up. I found Dana on the terrace, watching stray cats wind through flower pots. She didn't flinch when I told her. "We always knew they wouldn't let us go," she said. "So, what's the plan?" "Mitchell wants us to erase the real engine, the core, not the mirror we leaked." She nodded once. "Where is it?" "Geneva," I said. "Routed through a shell company, tied to a humanitarian AI lab." "Of course it is," she muttered. We packed in silence. No tears, no theatrics, just resignation wrapped in resolve. We knew this wasn't a mission. It was a burial. Geneva gleamed in a way war zones never do. Clean air, clean sidewalks, clean suits. It made the blood in your memory feel dirtier. We moved as civilians. Dana in a coat too big for her. Me wearing glasses I didn't need. The address led us to a sterile glass building overlooking the Rhone. Inside, polished floors, smiling receptionists, and the hum of servers buried beneath marble. The engine was there, a stripped-down core housed in a server bay, disguised as a medical archive. On the surface, it hosted clinical trial data for prosthetics and neuroresponse feedback loops. But under the hood, it still mapped human movement, scraped biometric tags, and ran cost-benefit scenarios for collateral loss. "I need 5 minutes," Dana said, plugging into the terminal. I watched the door. My hand brushed the pistol taped to my lower back. She typed like she was undoing a crime with every keystroke. "I'm not just erasing it," she whispered. "I'm feeding it its own rot." "What do you mean?" "I'm seeding it with false flags, fake geolocations, synthetic hostages, ghost data loops. After this, anyone who uses it will get bad intel. It'll implode from the inside." "Will it survive?" "It'll exist, but it won't work." "Like us?" I asked before I could stop myself. She looked up. "No," she said. "We still work. We just don't belong anywhere." We walked out an hour later. No alarms, no chases, just the kind of quiet that felt like a goodbye you couldn't say out loud. We found a cafe near the train station, ordered espresso, and sat in the corner, our legs tangled under the table. "I dreamed about Chicago last night," she said. "What part?" "My old apartment. Radiator hissed in winter. My father used to crash on the couch with takeout." I nodded. "I dreamed about Ramstein, the tarmac, your boots in the dust." She reached for my hand. "You think we'll ever be normal again?" "No," I said, "but maybe we can be honest." She smiled. "I'd settle for quiet." The train came. We boarded. We didn't look back. Epilogue. We live in a coastal village now, Croatia, like she circled on the map all those weeks ago. We rent a weathered stone house with cracked shutters and a fig tree that bleeds sap when it rains. There's no internet, no signals, just wind and bread, and the occasional postcard from someone who knows better than to sign their name. Dana fixes engines for fishermen. I teach local kids first aid in exchange for olives and warm beer. We don't talk about Geneva or Gaza or the girl who lived because of a drive that never should have existed. But some nights, she reaches for me in her sleep like she's falling, and I hold her like it matters, like it still matters, because maybe it does. Maybe the world won't end in fire or war or corrupted data. Maybe it ends in a whisper. Two people who chose not to be what they were trained to become. And maybe that's enough. For now, we live. And if the engine ever wakes again, if the ghosts rise and the machine learns to feel, we'll be ready, together, in the silence after the sirens. You have been listening to Pulseline, produced and adapted for audio narration by Past, Now, Read. Stories that need to be told. Please subscribe and hit that bell for future updates. If you liked this story, stay tuned for the next episode each Sunday afternoon. Follow for more. If you like our stories, please tag with someone who may also like Past Now Read, stories that need to be told. It would really help our channel. Thank you. All content and images are copyrighted by Phone House, LLC, 2020. All rights reserved.